Good day, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I think it's almost been a year since I've podcasted, for more reasons than one. Firstly, I caught COVID, which took me out for almost 6 months, and it changed my life tremendously. Suffering with so many long COVID issues, and then had a reflection on life and things, and then we got back to normal. And every time I thought, right, I need to go back to doing my blogs and my podcasting and music and all sorts of things, and life just kept changing. From freelancing to singing to getting a job, and who would have thought it? But it needs be to pay the bills. It had to be done. But one thing I never lost was standing in my truth, and I continued living in that vein. And now I'm here to resurrect it again. And it's funny because the time that I'm now resurrecting it is just, I've been dealing with my mum's illness for quite a while. And reflection, and eventually my mother passed. And this episode is about where grief can take you. It depends where you are in your life when grief actually hits you. It manifests itself in so many different ways. It can hit you head on. It will make you numb. It can make you act out of character. It genuinely can throw you into a whole new body experience. If you're an only child, it's the silence. If you have siblings, each individual will be grieving separately and thinking of the times that they had with that individual that's passed, whether it be your mother or your father or your brother. But it's your own personal memory that you can only reflect on. The worst thing is when you've got more than one sibling or it's two, and you are all in different places of your life, and grief is upon you. Things are said, and animosity is created, and for the first time you see those people in a different light. You try to keep the peace, but they come at you. You try to be reflective, people will still come at you. Some people may find that they can't get out of bed. I identify with that. Some people end up having anxiety. That resonates deeply with me. A panic attack. Another one that resonates with me. A sense of no belonging. That deeply resonates with me. Then you have the families who you find out that sibling is actually your half sibling, or that person is actually you're not related to. That's deep. Death and grief can bring out all of those things. There isn't a guidebook to how to deal with grief. There just isn't. But it certainly can change you. It certainly does change you. For me, I had to learn that my sister didn't like me. I had to learn that there was deep-seated, rooted issues. And rather than her address those issues about herself, she deflected them onto me. Making me second-guess myself at one point. My mum's body is not even cold. But we had to try to pull together to at least put her soul to rest. But amongst all of that, you have to deal with jealousy and recriminations and judging, hierarchy, money, outside influences. A family that you thought that you were all loving, that one link or death of a sibling or a parent actually brings out sometimes the true character of the people that you hold dear. Watching someone die is the most traumatic thing I've ever experienced. I've lost a brother, and I was there when they turned off his life support and watched for hours as I had to wait for his body to become cold before they moved him. But watching my mother taking her last breath is something that I play constantly in my head daily. Because it wasn't a peaceful taking of the last breath. It was a couple of days of struggle and pain. And then the calm. And then there's no noise. And the sound of wailing, of crying and tears and screaming. And the feel of you're about to pass out. Like your soul has just left your body. And the palpitations, which playing it through my head again, the palpitation kicks in again. Took it took me 4 or 5 days to bring those palpitations to a heel, that I could function, at least be functionable in the first week of Easter 2023. But the coming days and before we're now going to lay her to rest on the 25th of May has been a traumatic one of watching sibling rivalry and realizing that the only link to my family was just my mother. And to know that with all the things and the recriminations that's now all coming out, it's sad to see. Me personally, I think it's petty, because I obviously was living in a world of delusional state. And you expect when you've lost a loved one, you expect your family to come together. You don't expect it's the outsiders who's going to bring you the genuine love, respect, and the condolences. You feel that should come from your inner sanctum. But alas, that's not the case in my scenario. And I used to hear it from other people saying, these two siblings don't. And I just think, how could you be like that? It's ridiculous. I can't imagine. But alas, again, It was weeks of a build-up of watching my sibling absolutely become a whole different person. And at first I wanted to put it down to, watching our parent die, coming to the end of her life. And, we just had to just keep quiet and put up with the behaviour. But then once my mother passed, it's then watching the degrading and the attitude. And it's really, really hurtful to see that. So my standing my truth today is, what do you do? Do you retaliate? And in the first instance, I did, and I just, sort of pulled myself away because I didn't feel it was necessary to be spoken down to or belittled. And being at the end of everybody's battering stick of anger and grief. Because where does my grief go? So you find yourself in a wall of silence because you're now walking on eggshells because you don't know what to say. You don't know how to put this whole funeral together because everybody is at loggerheads. And so you find that people will go outside of the inner circle to vent because they can't speak to their own siblings. And where you are at that place and time doesn't necessarily mean that that's where that person is. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration when people are spewing venom and being angry. I'm not perfect, but I had to take those things into consideration. And still yet be vilified because it's you being the half sibling to your other siblings who have stuck together for years, who have made you know that you are an outsider. Everyone makes their mind up about you without you even opening your mouth. They look at your actions or your body language and they just assume that's who you are. A conversation is never had. And so, you're finding that you're fighting an uphill battle, just trying to stay calm and level-headed for the sake of the person you are about to put to rest. No animosity. All you want is just to give nothing but love. But the love is not reciprocated because they feel it's not genuine. Or they're so cold, they wouldn't know what love actually looks like because they didn't live their life with love. It's not something they're used to. They don't know what love feels like. So if you don't know what that looks like, then that's how you're going to be portrayed outside to other people. I can't speak like that because I have a beautiful daughter and we do nothing but love. So I know what it feels like to feel love and give love. But there are people who genuinely doesn't know how to do that, especially if they don't have children. They wouldn't know the love of being a parent. What they do know is a parent loving them. It's two different things. Being a parent, it's called unconditional love. You can't get rid of those children. Well, you can do if you look at adoption, but you still will have that unconditional feeling of the love that you've given away that child. And hoping that someone can do better than you could. But deep down inside, as a parent, whether you're there present in that child's life, you do love them. No matter what you put out, you do love them. And you'll always be a parent. But when you physically have never put a sperm and been donated a sperm, or you carried a child to term, or anything like that, you'll never, ever understand what it is to have a love of a child. It's different to adopting. You may say you disagree. You know, it's just a different feeling. A very different feeling. And that, again, is only my standing in my truth opinion. But coming to the end, because there's a lot to put to this story, and standing in my truth is I've had to take a step back and assess and reflect myself and the language I use around people, not just through this grieving process, but how people perceive you or myself when you speak. Are they really listening? Are they really your friends? Or do you just keep quiet because what is it you're trying to prove? Grief is a serious thing. It can be very unhealthy. It can break up the most jointed family. And it could bring a family together. Sadly, in my case, which I never saw that coming, it has broken my family. But I'm going to give grace and thanks to the Almighty and to the woman that birthed me, and thank her for putting up with my stupidity and selfishness at times, my kooky self. She used to call me her favourite daughter, which didn't go down too well apparently. But I am a representation of my mother being the firstborn. And I will never let anyone take that away from me. I will never let my half-siblings belittle me enough to continue feeling any less of a person. I am who I am. I stand in my truth. And that is the way we should always live our lives. This is Valerie M, aka Valerie Maxfield, standing in my truth. And it's good to be back. Catch you Thursday for the next excerpt. But here we are, season 4, 21st of May, 2023. I wish you all a good day. Bye.